All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. We'll start today by coming down into either a seated position in your chair comfortably with your back against the back of the chair, or coming down into a constructive rest on your mat. As you lengthen your spine in either position, you allow your shoulders to start to relax. Your hands can rest on your body or alongside on your chair or the floor. Your knees can be separate or maybe touching together. And I invite you to close your eyes or simply soften your gaze here as you settle into a slower, more rhythmic breath. Feeling your inhale maybe through the nose, start to extend. And seeing if you can match your inhale to your exhale, not in a forceful way, but simply a mindful way. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, and breathing out. As you settle in, first scan the body to notice any aches, pains, tweaks, or twinges. Begin to notice your energy level, whether you're feeling high energy tonight or low energy. Take a moment to notice any emotions, any stories, any feelings bouncing around the energy of your body. And we bring our mind to these things only to bring our awareness, acknowledge it, so that we can move through our practice, set it aside. As we start to get back into that equal breath, we'll breathe in a mantra or an affirmation of a positive thought, something we'd like to bring a little more of into our life. Maybe some confidence or some calm, relaxation. Maybe we're breathing in focus or gratitude or even a little more love. But whatever word we're choosing, it feels authentic to us tonight, something we want to connect with in a positive way with each inhale. Maybe you simply say the word to yourself. Maybe you visualize or feel the emotion surrounding that word on each inhale. With each equal exhale, start to release something that isn't serving you in this moment. Maybe it's a doubt, stress or tension, distraction, or discontentment. Or maybe it's simply negative self-talk. And again, finding that thing that's no longer serving you, that feels authentic for you today. So maybe you breathe in confidence and exhale tension, or inhale gratitude and exhale negative self-talk, whatever the words that feel connected to in this moment. We'll take about 3 more breaths. Inhaling in the positive, exhaling out the negative. Inhaling in positive,
We'll begin to release that mantra for the moment as we settle back into the equal breath. We'll talk about the illusion of control for a moment. Control is an illusion. We think we can control a situation, a person, or how we feel in a moment. But this is not up to us. What we do have the power over is how we choose to respond. We cannot control what happens in our life, how people or animals will act, or how life will unfold. But we can meet what arises in our lives with an open and understanding heart, realizing this is what it means to be human. And from that place of acceptance, we can take any actions that need to be taken. We can respond rather than react. Letting go of control, we find that we can welcome in ease as we take just a few more of those equal breaths and center ourselves. Notice some things and where in your life you're trying to take control. And as you breathe, see if you can maybe soften and let go. See if you can surrender to how life is unfolding.
Wonderful job today. We'll start to find our natural breath. We'll take this moment to offer ourselves just a little bit of gratitude for finding time for our practice this evening. And then, when you're ready, start to wiggle fingers and toes. You can leave your eyes closed or flutter the eyes open, but begin to move through the neck, letting the head fall to one side if you're on the mat, and taking your head over towards one side if you're seated in the chair. So we're simply rolling left and right through the neck, either from any position that we're in. Our head and gaze are neutral, slowly moving left to right, noticing how that feels through our spine. Through our neck. And then go ahead and come back through center. If you're in a constructive rest, go ahead and separate the knees. And then let's find a little windshield wiper of the knees left to right. You're seated in the chair, maybe holding on to the seat of the chair for a little support. Put your windshield wiper the knees. The next time the knees fall to the right, go ahead and pause there, taking this into a twist. You're in the chair, maybe bringing your spine up straight and twisting towards your opposite shoulders. And if you're on the floor, your knees go one direction, your shoulders flat against the floor. You can add any props here, stack or stagger the knees. We'll take just a few breaths in our twist. Go ahead and exhale through center. Stay for your inhale. And then exhale over to the other side. Finding your twist on this other side on hold for just a breath. Okay, let's go ahead and come back through center. We're seated on the floor. Go ahead and come up to a seat on your mat, or maybe bringing a prop under you, like a block. And we're going to find a butterfly pose, bringing the soles of the feet together and the knees out wide. Go ahead and put some props under the knees for a little bit of support. If taking this is adding any pressure on the inner thigh. And if you're seated in the chair, we're going to take that same movement. You can keep your feet on the floor, or maybe even bring a prop up under them, bring them a little closer to your hips. We sit up tall through the spine, whichever variation you're taking. And then let's take our arms up and overhead, really reach them up high. Feel that length and extension throughout the sides of the body. And then let's drop our right hand down the back of the spine, and we're going to capture the either right hand, right wrist, or right elbow, and start to draw that right elbow up towards the ceiling, lengthening through the right side of your body. Feel that equal inhale and exhale throughout our practice today. Great job. Inhale, look up as you do, lift both hands, and then let's switch sides. Taking the left hand down, holding anywhere along that hand or elbow. You can even grab your strap in the left hand and use your right hand if lifting the shoulder overhead is feeling strenuous. Lots of options always, so finding what feels right for you and knowing that you can always do it. Inhale, look up, reach up. And then exhale, let's bring our hands back down by our hips and start to find a little fold here. Hands can stay on your legs somewhere or on your feet, or you can even reach them out in front or onto a prop if that feels good as you hinge over this forward fold. Great job. Inhale to come back up to a straight spine. And then we're going to find a lengthening of our diamond shape here, coming into a tortoise pose. So really lengthening it out so there is a little bit of length and opening into that so the heels are further away from you in some fashion. And just like before, we lengthen our spine, and as we exhale, we find a hinge and fold into our turtle shell. Maybe even bringing chin down towards chest and rounding through the spine. Notice the subtle difference by lengthening the legs a little further from the body. And then inhale, come back up to your straight spine. All right, we're going to come into a frog seat, bringing the heels as close to our body and widening those legs. Feet can be on the floor or toes can be lifted. If you're on the floor, maybe your hands are behind you for a little support, or maybe you're engaging through your core, bringing your hands to a prayer at heart center. We're seated in the chair. Same shape. We're just seated in the chair. We're bringing our knees out wide. Our heels can be down and toes down, or toes lifted. Hands can be behind us for support or at a prayer. We're all in the same spot. And then as we inhale, start to look up. And with your exhale, your equal exhale, start to bring your chin down towards your chest. And as we take this turtle or this frog seat, we're going to start to just move through this neck movement. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Noticing how that feels through the neck. Great job. Now start to find any neck movement that feels good for you at this moment. Maybe you start to take half circles or full circles. Maybe you have a sticky spot and you just want to give it a little stretch.
Feel free to take any movement through the neck that your body is following. Think of it as your yogi playtime. All right. Go ahead and come back through a neutral spine and neck, and then you're seated in the chair. Go ahead and bring those feet in for a seated mountain. And if you're on the floor, go ahead and come into a tabletop, bringing hands under shoulders and knees under hips, straight spine. We'll start to take some cat-cows now, pulling our belly and heart forward, lifting our chin, really feeling our shoulder blades as they pinch together. The belly dips. As we exhale, we round through the spine, curling chin to chest, rolling the back of the spine towards the ceiling or the chair. And then taking this at your own pace, inhaling to come to cow, exhaling to scary cat, taking it at your equal breath, but own pace. All right, great job. Continue in that fashion. Next, we'll find a straight spine. And then we're gonna take a thread the needle. So we can take it, whichever way we're taking it, we're gonna take our right hand out to the side. So whether you're seated in the chair, or you might wanna come up to your knees and sit in the hero's pose, or from a tabletop. So there's different options as always, but we're gonna take that right hand out to the side. And then with an exhale, we're gonna twist, we're gonna bring that hand, if we're taking the tabletop version, under the body and sink the shoulder and the ear towards the floor or towards a prop. We're taking it from the hero's pose or even seated in the chair. You're gonna bring that right arm across your torso and capture it with the left hand, using that hand to pull the arm towards your torso. Then you can keep the arm straight here or bring a bend into it, letting the hand rest on the elbow and bring the hand to the right elbow. All of these variations are giving you that good stretch through that outer right shoulder. Taking just a couple more breaths in your thread the needle. Inhale, we unwind, taking that right hand back out to the side. Exhale, go ahead and drop your hand if you're on the floor. And then let's take that to the left side. Inhaling, left arm reaches out, opening up through that left space. Exhale, thread the needle. Pull it through. Hugging that arm towards your torso. Take a few equal breaths. Stretching through that outer shoulder. Inhale to open it back up wide. Exhale, bring it into a tabletop. Or a seated mountain. All right, from here, we're gonna come into our variation of child's pose. Seated on the floor, you can sink your hips back, knees together or wide, and let your hands extend as your torso reaches towards the floor or a prop. If you're seated in your chair, you're gonna hinge forward, bringing your hands either onto your knees, maybe separating your legs a little bit as you hinge as far forward as feels good, and curl chin to chest. You can also reach your hands down towards your feet if that feels okay for your practice today. We'll take just a few breaths in this child's pose of our choice. And then begin to walk your hands over to the right leg if you're in your chair, or to the right side of your space if you're on the mat, taking a side bend in your child's pose. Your next exhale walks your hands through center to the left side of your space or left leg. We'll inhale to come back through center. And start to walk your hands back towards your hips, coming up about halfway if you're on the mat. And if you're seated in the chair, you're going to lift up through the spine as well. All right. So for this next pose, you're going to want to look at the screen as I describe what we're doing. We're taking shoelace pose, but instead of with our legs, we're taking it with our arms. So we're going to take our right arm to one side and then cross the left arm over it. Now, if we're seated in the chair, we're going to use our legs as the resistance point. We're on the mat, we're using the floor as our resistance point. As we exhale, we start to sink into this, letting both arms go a little bit wider and stretching through both shoulders simultaneously, making sure not to push past any tweaks in either side, and maybe bringing a block under the forehead for a little added support here if you're taking it on the floor. Beautiful job. Inhale to come back up. Switch arms. So that then arm that was in front now goes behind. And then take it again. Not pushing past anything that feels uncomfortable. Something does, ask yourself how you can make it feel better, and then simply do that. Beautiful job. Inhale to come back to a straight spine. Uncross those arms. And if you're seated on the floor, coming into a seated on your heels position, or maybe bringing a prop under the hips. We're going to set up for a camel variation. So if you're seated on your knees and you like to have props back by your feet, you're welcome to take that. We'll tuck the toes and start to come up to stand on the knees. So maybe putting cushioning under the knees if you're on a hard surface like this wooden floor that I have. If you're seated in the chair, bring your hands and start to bring them back towards your chair, maybe on the seat of the chair, maybe on the sides of the chair, and really feel your shoulders start to squeeze together. Sitting on the floor, you can keep your hands on your lower back, or you could lift them up overhead. We'll all start to look up, pulling our heart forward, squeezing those shoulder blades together. And if you have your hands on your hips and you'd like to drop them to those props, you're more than welcome to do that. And if you're seated in your chair, press into those hands wherever they're located, really assisting as we pull our heart forward and our chin up, rounding through the back spine. You're doing great. Great job. All right, next inhale, bring those hands up if they were down on blocks. And then let's come back to our straight spine, or no matter where we're at. All righty. From here, if you're on the floor, come back into a tabletop. And we're going to move into a side plank variation. So we're going to bring our right hand to the center of our mat, and then move our right leg out to the side of the mat and extend the top leg long, starting to stack the wrist. If you're taking this from our chair, it's quite simply a change of direction so that your left side is on the bottom, or sorry, your right side is on the bottom. You can either keep your right arm on the chair, or hang it over the chair, and then extend your left leg long. So same thing, and then start to stack right arm or lift it up overhead. Really feel that lengthening through the left side of the body, in whatever side plank variation you're in. Great job. Go ahead and come back through tabletop or seated mountain and take it to the opposite side. Placing left hand down or left side down. Bringing left foot to the, or left knee to the ground and extending the right one. Reaching right arm up or finding a rainbow arc. Great job. With our next exhale, release through your tabletop or seated mountain. And then let's all come on up to a standing position. We'll bind our mountain pose, putting weight equally into both feet as we stand tall. And let's inhale and circle those hands up and overhead. Really reach them up high. And with an exhale, take a swan dive into your forward fold. With an inhale, press into your hands to lift halfway. Your hands can be on your prop, on your legs, or on the floor. And then exhale and hinge into that forward fold. Bring a deep bend into your knees and take a slow roll as you come all the way back up to your mountain pose. And then once the shoulders arrive, circle arms overhead, tall mountain. We'll bring our right hand to our hip, or maybe to a prop, and start to bend over towards the right for a side bend. Inhale back through center, take it to the left. Inhale back through center. Exhale, cactus the arms, pulling the heart forward and the gaze up. Inhale, reach it up. With our next exhale, we'll take a bind at the back, interlacing fingers, grabbing opposite wrist or opposite elbows, or simply grabbing our shirt as we draw those knuckles down towards the floor. And once again, feel that opening through our heart space, lifting our chin. With our exhale, we'll release and inhale, arms reach up and overhead. Exhale, bring it down through a prayer. Beautiful sun salutation. From here, let's go ahead and step back with the left foot, coming into a crescent lunge. We're going to set up this foundation here for our flow today. So we'll bend into this front knee, we'll bend into that back knee. You're welcome to keep your hand on your prop, bring it to a prayer at your heart center, or maybe start to send those arms up into the air. Now we know that anytime we're in a lunge, we want to pull those thigh muscles towards each other and pull our core back towards our spine, engaging that lower and mid body, no matter where we're at. Beautiful job. With our next exhale, we're going to bring our left hand, the same one as the back leg, towards the front knee or towards the chair on the front side of the knee. And then start to open your right hand back behind you. Great job. Come back through center and then step that back foot in, taking just a few steps. Feel free to take any movement if your body needs it. And then we'll set up on the other side in that crescent lunge of our choice. Bend in both knees, strong core, and finding that perfect hand placement for us today. Coming back into our equal breath. Next exhale, we find our twist towards that front leg. Taking left hand back behind us. Great job. Let's come back through center. Bring that back foot in. All right. Our next inhale, circle arms up and overhead. Reach them up really high. And then exhale, we're going to bring our hands down into a T shape at heart center. Or not at heart center, but at shoulder length. You can have your palms down or palms forward, or any way that feels good for you. But we're going to start to take little baby circles, like you're drawing the size of a penny on the walls on either side of you. And after a few breaths of taking that circle, slowly begin with each breath to go a little, with each inhale, to go a little bit bigger, and a little bit bigger, and a little bit bigger, and a little bit bigger, until you finally get to your biggest rotation point. And it could take a few cycles depending on how slow and how you get there. So take your time. Once you feel like you've reached your biggest circles, go ahead and pause at the top and start to reverse those circles, continuing to go really big for a few moments. Find that breath in and out, and on each exhale, go a little smaller until you eventually get back to the penny size. Great job. Whenever you can't hold this anymore, go ahead and allow your hands to fall by your side and take any shoulder movement that your body needs after all that intensity. Great job. All right, so let's go ahead and take our right foot and then cross it over our left foot. You can keep your feet close together. You can stagger them apart. You can even put it a little forward and back if that feels more stable for your body. But we're going to have those legs at an inward cross here. And then with our next exhale, start to find a hinge, a forward fold over this leg placement. Now your hands can come down onto any prop. It could be your chair at any height, or the block, or even the floor, or your own legs. It's really up to you as you hinge into your forward fold here. Now we're going to start to find a little bit of movement here as we walk our hands. Maybe our prop comes with us, or down our prop, over to the left side of our space. Taking our right hip a little to the right side of the room. Great job. Go ahead and come back through center. And then take the block or your hands over to the right side of your space, letting the left hips shoot out just a little bit. Beautiful job. Come back through center. Inhale to halfway lift. Find that figure 7 through the body. And then uncross the legs and recross them in the opposite direction. Exhale to sink it back in. This time begin by going over to the right side and sending the left hip out. And then come through center to the left side to send the right hip out. Noticing the stretch through the IT bands maybe. Or noticing where you're feeling them. Great job. Go ahead and come back through center. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to uncross the legs. Take a deep bend and find your slow roll to tall mountain. Right hand down, side bend to the right. Back through center. Side bend to the left. Back through center. Cactus the arms. Reach it up, tall mountain. Exhale, bind at the back, but switch it up. I'll change up the thumb or some way, find a way to make it a little different. Feel the heart lifting, the gaze lifts. Exhale to release, tall mountain. And then let's bring it through a prayer and give our shoulders a little bit of release from all that work we've been doing. All right, we're going to go through a warrior's flow as we set up a little bit of a flow for the next few poses. So we're going to step that left foot back. We're going to open it into a warrior too, letting the toes come out and the heel in line. The hips open to the side and start to bend into that front knee as deeply as feels good. Taking your hands up to maybe shoulder height or leaving one on a prop for support. You're doing great here. Just with that just like with that crescent lunge, we're pulling the thigh muscles in, we're engaging through our core, we're squeezing our shoulder blades together. Beautiful form. From here, we're going to take it into a reverse warrior. We're going to bring our back hand onto our hip or slide it down the back leg and start to maybe keep that front hand on our prop if it feels the most stable, or maybe start to lift it up in the air, reaching up towards the sky. I really like to look at my back foot during this, because I find it gives me the most opening through my body. But you may want to find and play with where you like your gaze to be. Inhale to come back through your warrior two. And then we're going to take it into a side angle. So you can bring your hand or your elbow to your front knee or to your prop. As you hinge towards the front of your mat, you're going to take your back hand up overhead or even rainbow arc it overhead. Great job. Inhale to come back through your warrior two. And then we're going to take it into our crescent lunge. So we're going to lift that back heel, turn our back hip so we're facing towards the front of our space. Hands can come to a prayer or maybe lift up into the air into our crescent lunge. And then just like before, we're going to take it into a twist. Taking our left hand towards the left side of our prop or our left knee as we reach back with the right hand. Great job. Come back through center and then bring that left foot in. And let's take that on the other side. Step back to the right side. Inhale, arms on chair, prayer, or overhead as we open up into our warrior two. Bending deeply through that front knee. Squeezing shoulder blades. The hip opens, the back heel settles to the center of the mat. All right, you know where we're going, a warrior sequence. We start to drop into reverse warrior. We inhale, warrior two. Exhale, side angle, either hand to the knee or the prop, or the elbow. Back hand reaches overhead. Inhale through your warrior two. Now we're going to find our crescent lunge. So we lift the back heel as we sweep that back shoulder forward. Make any adjustments. Finding your crescent lunge. Settling in on your exhale. Twist it out. Inhale through center. Exhale, bring that back leg in to your mountain pose. Beautiful job. Inhale, circle arms up and overhead. Exhale, go ahead and bring those hands out to shoulder height. We're going to take and bring the right arm under the left arm and come into an eagle arms. You can hug the shoulders or maybe start to bring the backs or the fronts of the hands together or grab a strap in between the arms. Now to add just a little bit more of a challenge, maybe start to bend into the knees, sinking into a chair pose with an eagle arms. Work to keep the spine straight. Feel the shoulder blades spreading apart. You need to come out of the chair and sink back in. Feel free to do so in your own time. You're doing great. All right, let's release standing and then release the arms back to a T. Great job. Let's take it in the opposite direction. And then exhale to sink into the bend of the knees, chair pose. Great job. Inhale to release. And exhale, go ahead and let the props, if you're using any, come down. We're going to take a standing dancer next. You may want to stand next to a wall or next to something you can touch that's about hip height. And maybe you do want that strap again. We're going to stand in our mountain pose.
And then shift the weight to one side or the other and start to lift the other foot up off the mat and bring it up towards your hip. You can grab it with your hand, that's available. Or maybe you wrap the strap around your ankle, holding it with your hand. Whichever variation you're taking, you're really pulling that heel as close to your hip as available. Now you're welcome to stay here, or for a little bit more of a challenge, maybe you start to hinge at the hips a little, lifting the knee behind you, coming into a standing dancer. Your front hand can be on a prop, or maybe extend it out long in front of you. Or even holding the wall nearby. You're doing great no matter where you're at. Inhale to start to come back up to a straight spine. Release the foot. Great job. All right, let's switch sides. Bringing the opposite foot up towards your heel, lengthening your spine. Find a spot on the floor that's not moving to help with your balance. And then as you're ready, start to hinge forward maybe. Finding your standing dancer pose. Great job. Inhale to come back to your straight spine, release the foot. Give yourself a pat on the back. That was really great work. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and come down to a seat, either in your chair or on the floor. We're going to come into a seated staff. So we're going to send our legs out long in front of us. We're going to lengthen through our spine. And with our exhale, we're going to hinge forward from the hips. Maybe we'll walk our hands down our legs. Maybe we reach towards our toes or towards a strap around our toes. You're seated in the chair. You can hold on for a little extra support here, making sure you don't fall out of your chair. Finding that movement that feels good for you, and maybe even rounding through the spine, curling chin to chest. You can always have a bend in the knees or press out through the heels to lengthen the legs, flexing through the toes. Inhale to come back up to a straight spine. From here, if you're seated in the chair, bring your hands behind you onto the chair like in a camel. And if you're seated on the floor, go ahead and bring a bend into your knees, bringing your feet hip distance apart. Bring your hands behind you. Your fingers can point away from you or towards your hips. We're gonna take just a shoulder opener here. Maybe start to walk your hips towards your heels if you're on the floor. If you're in the chair, you can press into that camel pose, or either variation. You can maybe start to lift your hips away from the prop, coming into a reverse tabletop pose. Either camel or reverse tabletop. And no matter where you're at, noticing how that feels through the shoulders, making sure not to push into any tweaks or twins. Great job. Wherever you're at, go ahead and release the hips back to the floor. And then we'll take a reclined position, rolling down onto our backs. We're seated in the chair. We're going to keep our hips forward, but let our torso lean back. And you're always welcome to add a pillow there for just a little bit of support. From this position, take your arms up overhead and extend your legs out long for a full body stretch. And then walk both feet over towards the right side of your space, leaving your hips right where they are. We're going to go from that child's banana at the beginning of class to a full banana here. You're always welcome to cross the one ankle over the other here.
Go ahead and keep those hips exactly where they are, but begin to walk your shoulders and hands into a side bend to the same direction. Creating that C or banana shape through your body. Our next exhale slowly brings everything through center, the other side. Come back through center. And then if you're seated in the chair or even on the floor, go ahead and bring a bend into your knees, coming back into constructive rest here. Soles of the feet about hip distance apart, knees bent towards the wall in front of you or the ceiling. Now, if we're on the chair, we're going to do this at one leg at a time. And if you're on the floor, you have the option of just taking both legs at the time. So it's up to you. But we're going to come into a reclined frog pose. So if you're seated in the chair or you're on the floor, go ahead and bring your right knee in first. Hug it in. And then let that right knee fall out to the side. If you're on the floor, you can go ahead and bring the left knee in and then let the left knee fall out to the side. Now you can flex through the feet here or leave them relaxed. You can hold anywhere on the legs, the thighs, the ankles, the inner feet. That feels good for you. We'll take just a couple more breaths. On the right side, if you're seated in the chair, and then if you're seated in the chair, let's switch sides, bringing the other leg in. You could also have a strap around your foot. If that would be a great adoption for your body here. Beginning to let that left knee fall out to the side. In our frog pose. Great job. With your next exhale, go ahead and release all your feet to the floor, no matter which variation you were taking. We'll take one last set of windshield wipers, letting the knees fall from left to right. Rotating through the hips. Welcome to pause on either side if that feels good for you for a moment. Making sure to balance out between both sides. And then as you're ready, we'll start to move into our final resting pose. You're always welcome to come back into that constructive rest or corpse pose, or maybe stay in your chair. Maybe you move to someplace a little close, but that feels comfier, like a couch or a recliner. Maybe you add a few pillows or blankets, something to cover your eyes, or a weighted blanket or a weight of some sort on your abdomen. It's really up to you how you make this time your own personal sanctuary. But we'll begin by finding a comfortable position, whatever that position might be. This position should feel like relaxation, even if that doesn't necessarily mean stillness. Begin to close your eyes or simply soften your gaze. And take a few deep cleansing breaths. Inhaling deeply through your nose and exhaling slowly through your mouth. As you continue to breathe this deep, rhythmic breath,
Start to bring your awareness to the sensation of your breath moving in and out of your body. Allow yourself to feel the rise and the fall of your torso and your abdomen with each breath. Now, we'll turn our attention to the concept of control. We often believe that we have control over many aspects of our lives. But the truth is that much of our life is actually beyond our control. This illusion of control can lead us to stress, to anxiety, and even a sense of being overwhelmed. We'll begin today's visualization by imagining yourself holding a rope. This rope represents the need to control things in your life. Notice the tension in the rope as you tightly grip it, trying to control the little details and aspects of your life. And then notice how that tension feels in your body. Maybe noticing it in your shoulders, or your neck, your jaw. Maybe it feels like a heaviness or a burning sensation in the abdomen or the heart space. Now, while we hold this rope, notice that you are standing at the edge of a calm, serene river, seeing the water flowing by you peacefully. As you continue to breathe deeply, visualize yourself letting go of your rope, releasing your grip, allowing it to fall into the river. Watch as the river gently carries your rope away, taking with it the need to control. Feel the tension in your body melting away with it. As you let go of the rope, maybe you repeat this mantra silently to yourself. I release the illusion of control. I surrender to the flow of life. Maybe imagine yourself floating on the surface of the water, completely relaxed and at ease, feeling the support of the water beneath you, carrying you effortlessly. Now bring to mind those areas of your life that we talked about, where you've been trying to control the outcomes. See if you can visualize yourself surrendering the natural flow of those situations, trusting that life will unfold as it should. And with each breath, try to let go a little more, allowing yourself to release the need to control those little details, and embracing the freedom that comes with surrendering to the present moment. Take these last few moments to simply be in the state of surrender and flow. Maybe feeling a sense of peace or tranquility that can come with the letting go, this illusion of control. We remember that the practice of letting go of control is ongoing. Whenever we feel the need or the sense that we feel like we should control the little things of our life, or even the big things. Maybe bringing back this meditation to mind, allowing yourself the power of surrender and the beauty of living life in the flow. You can't always choose the music that life plays for us, but we can choose how we dance to it. When you're ready, slowly bring your awareness back into your breath. And as you exhale, gently wiggle your fingers and toes. Gradually start to open your eyes and bring yourself back to the present moment. And in your own time and in your own way, come up into an upright position facing me. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you have a wonderful week ahead. Thank you so much. Good night.